You're not lazy. That's the lie you've repeated to yourself for too long. Because lazy people don't stay awake at night thinking about the life they wish they had. Lazy people don't constantly feel guilty for wasting time, and lazy people don't carry this much frustration inside their own mind every single day. You want success. You want discipline. You want your life to change. But every time you try to move forward, your brain shuts down. You open your laptop, then suddenly lose all energy. You think about improving your life, then immediately feel mentally exhausted. You plan everything in your head, but your body refuses to act, and after a while, you start hating yourself for it. Because nobody understands how painful it feels to want more from life while feeling completely unable to move. That's the psychological trap ambitious but mentally exhausted people live inside every day. From the outside, it looks like laziness, but internally, your brain feels overloaded. Too many thoughts, too much pressure, too much emotional exhaustion. Your nervous system became overwhelmed long before your ambition disappeared. And that's why even small tasks now feel mentally heavy. Not because they're difficult, but because your brain is already carrying too much invisible pressure. Most people think motivation disappears because someone stops caring. But honestly, sometimes motivation disappears because the brain becomes emotionally exhausted from constantly fighting itself. You want success, but your mind keeps imagining failure. You want to improve, but overthinking destroys your ability to begin. You want discipline, but your brain is addicted to comfort because comfort became your emotional escape. And eventually, you become trapped between ambition and exhaustion. That's why people like this often feel guilty all the time. Because deep down, they know they're capable of more. That's what makes it so painful. The awareness never disappears. You still imagine the future you want. You still think about changing your life. You still feel frustrated watching time pass. But your mind feels disconnected from action itself. And modern life makes this even worse. Your brain is constantly overstimulated. Short videos, notifications, dopamine spikes, endless comparison. Your attention gets destroyed slowly every single day. And eventually, your ambition starts competing against constant mental exhaustion. That's why you can spend hours consuming motivation without actually changing anything, because your brain became addicted to stimulation instead of movement. Thinking started replacing action, and over time, fantasizing about success became emotionally safer than risking failure in reality. That's the part nobody talks about. Some ambitious people secretly become mentally paralyzed by their own expectations. They dream so much about the future that reality starts feeling emotionally overwhelming. Every task feels bigger. Every failure feels personal. Every delay creates more self-hatred, until eventually, even starting becomes terrifying. And that's when people begin calling themselves lazy. But maybe the real problem was never laziness. Maybe your brain became exhausted from carrying pressure it was never designed to hold constantly. Pressure to succeed, pressure to improve, pressure to become someone better before time runs out. And when that pressure mixes with overstimulation, loneliness, emotional exhaustion, and constant comparison, your nervous system slowly starts shutting down. That's why mentally exhausted, ambitious people often live in cycles. One night, they feel extremely motivated. The next morning, they feel completely empty again, because motivation cannot survive inside a constantly overwhelmed brain. And honestly, maybe that's why you feel stuck lately. Not because you lack ambition, but because your mind has been overloaded for too long. You've spent so much time surviving mentally that even your dreams now feel exhausting. And the worst part is, nobody notices this struggle. People only see the lack of action. They never see the invisible war happening inside your mind every single day. The overthinking, the pressure, the fear of wasting your life, the emotional exhaustion, the constant feeling that you should already be further ahead by now. That pressure silently destroys people, especially the ones who care deeply about becoming more. And maybe healing doesn't begin with forcing yourself harder. Maybe it begins when you finally understand that your brain is not a machine. Constant pressure does not create endless motivation. Sometimes it creates emotional paralysis. And maybe you're not weak for feeling exhausted. Maybe your nervous system has simply been carrying too much for too long. And if this video felt painfully familiar, subscribe to Psythic, because there are things your mind still needs to hear. And comment below, What's the biggest thing your mind keeps stopping you from doing?